This is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. And as this Black History Month 2025 comes to an end, we can say that it has been eventful. It has not been a bad Black History Month at all. And I would just like to highlight a few things that I think went well during this Black History Month. First, I want to acknowledge and give thanks to the founder of Black History Month, Carter G. Woodson, who saw the importance of documenting the achievements and contributions that American descendants of slavery had made to this great empire. He saw the need for that way back in the 1920s. It's as if he could see into the future and knew that we needed this documentation, that we needed to understand that our contributions and achievements to this country are important, and it is incumbent upon us to acknowledge it, because if we don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. Not only will they not acknowledge it, but they will erase us out of it and write themselves in. So the great man said, "Those who have no record of what their forebears have accomplished lose the inspiration which comes from the teaching of biography and history." So in 1926, he founded what was then known as Negro History Week. President Johnson in 1971 expanded it to a month and called it Black History Month. Carter G. Woodson died in 1950, but he devoted his life to historical research. He worked to preserve the history of Black Americans and accumulated a collection of thousands of artifacts and publications. He noted that Black American contributions were overlooked, ignored, and even suppressed by the writers of history textbooks and the teachers who used them. Race prejudice, he concluded, is merely the logical result of tradition, the inevitable outcome through instruction to the effect that the Negro has never contributed anything to the progress of mankind. Yeah, that was the narrative, that Black people from anywhere had made any contribution to world civilization. So he decided, okay, we're going to put a stop to that. We're going to document it. We're going to write it and date it and tell who did what, when. And that way you can't argue with the facts. These are facts. Okay, so we thank this ancestor. So on with some of the things that have made this Black History Month eventful. The 14th Amendment, with the election of Donald Trump and him coming in like gangbusters with his mass deportation plan, and also ending birthright citizenship, the 14th Amendment is on the radar. People did not know, and they really didn't know, that the 14th Amendment, as well as the 13th Amendment and the 15th Amendment, were constitutional amendments that were strictly passed for the formerly enslaved people. And I find it ironic that Donald J. Trump was the one that stood before the American people and said with his full chest that the 14th Amendment was passed for the formerly enslaved people. This was another historical Black American moment. The Philadelphia Eagles, led by outstanding quarterback Jalen Hurts, won the Super Bowl after people in the sports world had betted against him and talked down about him. He went out there and showed them what he could do. So he showed up and he showed out. At that very same Super Bowl game, rapper Kendrick Lamar broke all records for Super Bowl halftime viewership, including Michael Jackson's, whose 1993 performance was the gold standard until now. And then there was the not so pleasant firing of the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Charles Q. Brown, by Donald Trump's new Secretary of Defense, Chris Hedgeseth, or whatever his name is. Chris Hedgeseth, who served in the National Guard and in the Army Reserve. He has never been in the Army, Marine, Navy, or Air Force. He's just been on the peripheral, not wanting to get in harm's way. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. General Charles Q. Brown has spent over 40 years in the military. He has come up through the ranks. He has served in just about every capacity. He's a pilot in the United States Air Force, and he is qualified and highly decorated. And the person that replaced him doesn't have nearly the qualifications that he has. But they had a problem with him because they say he was a DEI hire. He believes in diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's their problem with him. But the reason I'm bringing him up is the way that he responded to them, and it was in a very classy way, and I'll share what he said. A farewell message to the Joint Force. He writes, I was inspired to serve by my father, who told me 4 years in the military will not hurt you. 4 years turned into 4 decades, surrounded by the finest service members and civilians from across our nation. Every day you have inspired me. It has been my distinct honor to conclude my career as chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. As chairman, I focused on war fighting, modernization, and trust. The Joint Forces' commitment to our security has never been more critical. I'm confident you will continue to stand resolute in defense of our nation. Shireen and I wish you and your families all the best. Thanks for your leadership. VRCQ, Charles Q. So that's a classic way to depart. He's got 40 years in, he's given his best to the nation, and he has come up against somebody like Donald Trump and his very incompetent, short sighted staff. He knows that in the end, they can do him no harm. He will be just fine. And I think this was a classy way to leave as opposed to screaming racism and whining. He did a good job, and he knows he did a good job, and he's well respected. Even the senators, the Republican senators, said that it was a mistake to fire him. But this is the season that we're in now, and we just have to get through it. But I thought this was a very classy way for him to exit that position. Last but not least is this little guy right here. He was in the baby crawling contest during halftime at a Pelicans basketball game in New Orleans. And this little guy stole the show. You have to see it. I'm going to put it in the comment section because this is copywritten material and I don't want to violate YouTube guidelines. But it's worth watching. This little guy took off like ain't no stopping me now. And he went all the way through the finish line till he got to his daddy. He was the one and only winner of the baby crawling contest. And if this little guy is any indication of what we're made of, we're going to be all right. These are his parents. They're a beautiful family, and I'm assuming that they're of our lineage. I haven't heard anything differently. This image of an intact black family cannot be overstated. The Center for Disease Control states that when black fathers are involved, that black fathers are more likely than their white and Hispanic counterparts to feed, eat with, bathe, diaper, dress, play with, and read to their children on a daily basis. Now, this is for black men who are involved in their children's lives. They make all the difference because they add the balance to child rearing that children need. Black History Month is for us to acknowledge who we are. We are in a fight right now for our identity and for our dignity. The world has tried to tell us who we are, and they've gotten it wrong. So now it's time for us to tell them who we are, and it's time for us to get it right. Okay, thank you for listening. Let me know what you think about the video. Give me a thumbs up and have a good day. And don't forget to watch that video. It's really cute.